Former Fiji coup leader Sitiveni Rabuka says he's ready to re-enter politics and will stand if next year's election, if it goes ahead. As an army officer, Rabuka led 2 coups in Fiji in 1987, for which he was later granted immunity. He's in New Zealand at the moment for Otago University's annual Foreign Policy School, which is being held in Dunedin this weekend. I interviewed him a short time ago and asked him if he was confident that Fiji will have democratic elections in September next year.
Democratic elections is a relative term because if we have elections, that is a democratic process. So generally it is a process of democracy where you try to get the will of the people into the ballot box. To answer that, I would straight away say no, because the people have not participated in the formulation of the system of the election. It will be an imposed system on the people to try and get the people to express the people's will through the ballot box. And that has not happened because the Constitution and its electoral provisions will not be the will of the people.
So we won't see a democratic election, we won't see a constitution anytime soon?
At the moment, we don't have a constitution. It's not been promulgated. And when it does come into being, it'll be similar to the 1990 Fiji constitution, which was forced on the people after the coup of 1987. But it was a constitution which allowed the people to have their own representation in parliament. And those representatives were mandated to review the unfair constitution by which they were elected. And by that review in the House, they eventually came up with the 1997 Constitution, which clearly says in the preamble, we the people of Fiji, God being our witness, give ourselves this Constitution.
Do you agree with non-racial seats?
I agree. I agree as long as you have a place for the races. You have to accept the races as a fact of communities and societies. And as you have to deal with them on a race-by-race case.
Right, so you would have race-based seats, or community seats as they're called, as well as non-race-based seats?
No, you will have, the elections will not be race-based. The elections will be universal franchise. One man, one vote, one value. That's what this government is saying. And we are going straight into it from a system where you had one Fijian or Itoke vote, one general vote or open vote. Now we have one vote for one member.
There's a book that's recently been published by Michael Green, New Zealand's former ambassador to Fiji. He says the coup is a Muslim coup. Is he right?
No, that's not right. The ascendancy of, or the visibility, the ascendancy of the visibility of the Attorney General has given that perception.
Yes. Mr. Saeed Kayam.
Yes.
And there is some suggestion that he has more influence than Bainimarama.
He's more high profile because he's there facing the cameras, facing the media more on more occasions than the Prime Minister. So
why is that, do you think?
Maybe that he is at home at the time, more of the time when Frank is away negotiating overseas. So
who's actually running Fiji then? Is it Bainimarama? Is it the Attorney General?
I think the Cabinet's still running Fiji. It's just that one personality comes out appearing to be running the country. I believe Frank is still running the country with his Cabinet. It's just the profile that the people see is very heavily in favor of them thinking that the Attorney General is running the country.
Okay, the political scientist Steve Ratuba said in a recent article in the Fiji Times, he said the test of Fiji's acceptance of democracy next year will be whether the losers accept the result. What does he mean by that?
Well, first of all, he's got to identify the loser. Maybe he's assuming that the current regime and their party, which they have not formed, will lose. And I agree with that. If they form a party and stand for election and find themselves losing, that would be the test. If this current, maybe Steve shouldn't have said the losers. He should have said, well, the current regime will accept losing the election, the result.
So would Fiji, therefore, still be in danger of another coup?
Yes.
New Zealand and Australia still maintains its sanctions, many sanctions on Fiji. What impact is that having on Fiji?
You're punishing the innocent.
What impact is that having? How are those punishments, if you like, being felt?
It's being felt by the people who have no say in what is going on. They have no say in the ousting of Garase. They're people who are in the army. They're just slogging along, and they need medical treatment in Australia and New Zealand, and they're not allowed to come in. So we have to take them all the way to India. As I said, you're punishing the innocent.
Has New Zealand lost some mana since...
New Zealand and Australia have lost a lot in the last 6 years, and will continue to lose. Even after the restoration, it will not be a restoration. It'll be the establishment of a new order. If we have elections and Australia and New Zealand want to come in, we have every right to say, where were you when we needed you?
You sound frustrated. Can you rule out ever returning to politics? Do you foresee a time when you may return yourself?
Well, I've just been contemplating on that, and I believe God doesn't believe in retirement. He has equipped us to be of service in whatever way. If I believe that door is open, I will go into it until I see that it's closed. And I'm still available to contest if my chiefs and my people want me to run as their representative.
What role would you want?
Just being their representative. Leadership is really something that you have to go for right from the beginning. Aspiring to be the political leader of Fiji now before the election is unrealistic. But first of all, you've got to get into Parliament and get in with a big base of support to be able to go and lead. But you can be the voice of the people in Parliament. You may not be heard, your vote may not count, you may be voting with the losers, but you will at least be voicing their concerns, and eventually somebody will listen, and some changes will be made, and that is what the people need, an evolution.
So at some stage in the future, we may see a Prime Minister Rabuka?
Not necessarily Prime Minister, but maybe Honourable Rabuka of Parliament, a member of Parliament for his province. But I have no personal wish to do that, but if it's the will of the people, I'll be available for them to call on.
You would like to be?
Yes. Yes.
All right, Sitiveni Rabuka, appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you very much.
Sitiveni Rabuka, former Fiji coup leader and Prime Minister, speaking to me a short time after he'd arrived in New Zealand for Otago University's annual Foreign Policy School.